This is going to be uncomfortable to hear, but it might be the most important 10 minutes you spend today. You're waking up early. You're meal prepping on Sundays. You're logging your steps, drinking your water, skipping the dessert, and yet you still feel puffy, still exhausted, still gaining weight in places that don't make sense. You've probably blamed your metabolism, maybe your hormones, maybe stress. But here's what nobody is telling you. The real damage is happening during the 7 to 9 hours you think you're doing absolutely nothing. Your sleep, or more accurately, the way your body is failing during sleep, is quietly dismantling every single healthy choice you make during the day. And the scariest part? You won't feel it happening. You'll just keep wondering why nothing is working. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to understand something that most doctors don't even bring up at annual checkups. Let's talk about scale for a second. The CDC published data showing that 1 in 3 American adults is chronically sleep-deprived, meaning they're regularly getting fewer than 7 hours per night. That's over 80 million people. And here's where it gets alarming. A landmark 2022 study published in Nature Communications followed 7,000 adults over 25 years. The researchers found that consistently sleeping 6 hours or fewer per night in your 50s was associated with a 30% higher risk of developing multiple chronic diseases, including obesity, type 2 diabetes, and cardiovascular disease, compared to people sleeping 7 hours. Not a small difference, 30%. And yet the global wellness industry spent $4.5 trillion in 2021. And most of that money went to supplements, gym equipment, and diet plans. Almost none of it went to sleep. We are fighting a metabolic war with the wrong weapons, and the enemy is winning every single night. Okay, so let's start with what most people already kind of know, the surface level stuff. When you don't sleep enough, you feel tired, you reach for sugar, you grab the extra coffee, you skip the workout because your body physically refuses to cooperate. That's obvious. But here's what's not obvious. Even one night of poor sleep measurably alters your hunger hormones. Specifically, it drops your leptin, the hormone that tells your brain you're full, and spikes your ghrelin, the hormone that screams, "Feed me." A 2004 study from the University of Chicago found that after just 2 nights of sleeping only 4 hours, participants showed a 24% increase in hunger and a 23% increase in appetite for high carbohydrate, high-calorie foods specifically. Not a craving for salad, a craving for cookies, chips, and bread. Your brain, running on poor sleep, is literally hijacking your nutrition decisions before you even sit down for breakfast. And most people will spend years blaming their willpower. Now let's go a layer deeper. Because hunger hormones are just the beginning. Here's what's really happening inside your body when sleep is disrupted. Your body uses deep sleep, specifically slow-wave sleep, to regulate cortisol. Cortisol is your primary stress hormone, and it plays a direct role in fat storage. When your cortisol stays elevated overnight, which happens when you're not hitting those deep sleep stages, your body interprets it as a threat signal. And under threat, your body does one very specific thing. It stores fat around your abdomen. This is called visceral fat, and it's not just cosmetically frustrating. Visceral fat is metabolically active. It releases inflammatory compounds called cytokines directly into your bloodstream. It increases insulin resistance. It has been directly linked to increased risk of heart disease, liver dysfunction, and yes, certain cancers. A 2010 study in the journal Sleep found that people sleeping fewer than 5 hours a night accumulated significantly more visceral fat over a 5-year period than those sleeping 7 or more hours, even when caloric intake was similar. Let that sink in. Same food, more fat, because of sleep. But here's the root cause that almost no one talks about. It's not just that you're sleeping fewer hours. It's that you're sleeping wrong hours, with the wrong architecture. Sleep is not one single state. It cycles through 4 distinct stages approximately every 90 minutes. Stage 1 and 2 are light sleep. Stage 3 is deep, slow-wave sleep. And REM sleep is where your brain consolidates memory and processes emotional stress. Most people who think they're sleeping 7 hours are actually spending very little time in stage 3 and REM. Why? 3 reasons that are everywhere in modern life. First, blue light exposure after 8 p.m. suppresses melatonin production, the hormone that signals your body to begin the sleep cycle, by up to 50%, according to research from Harvard Medical School published in 2015. Second, alcohol. Millions of people use a glass of wine to wind down. But alcohol fragments REM sleep brutally, robbing you of the restorative phase your brain needs most. Third, inconsistent sleep timing. Going to bed at 11 p.m. on weekdays and 2 a.m. on weekends creates what researchers call social jet lag, a chronic misalignment of your internal circadian clock that has been linked in a 2012 Journal of Biological Rhythm study to higher BMI, increased metabolic dysfunction, and elevated inflammatory markers. You may be in bed for 8 hours, but you're not actually sleeping. Here's the thing that even most wellness content completely misses. The conversation always goes, sleep more, feel better. And yes, duration matters. But the real metric is sleep quality, specifically how much time you're spending in deep and REM stages. And that quality is being sabotaged by something called sleep latency dysregulation. In plain terms, your nervous system is stuck in a low-grade fight-or-flight state even when your eyes are closed. Chronic low-level stress, financial pressure, unresolved conflict, digital overstimulation keeps your autonomic nervous system sympathetically dominant, meaning your body is technically in bed but physiologically prepared for danger. Your heart rate variability stays low. Your core temperature doesn't drop the way it needs to for deep sleep initiation. Your brain never fully transitions to slow-wave activity, and your body never gets the hormonal reset it's desperately waiting for. This is why some people can sleep 9 hours and still wake up exhausted. The hours are there, the depth isn't, and no sleep tracker will fix it for you. What fixes it is addressing the biological conditions your body needs before sleep even begins. So let's put the full picture together. Because it's actually a cascade. It starts with lifestyle habits, blue light, alcohol, inconsistent timing, that destroy sleep architecture before you even close your eyes. Then you're spending your night in shallow, fragmented sleep, never reaching the restorative deep and REM stages your biology requires. So cortisol stays elevated overnight. Leptin tanks, ghrelin spikes. You wake up hungry, inflamed, and reaching for the worst foods. You feel too depleted to exercise with any real intensity. Your insulin sensitivity is already impaired before you eat breakfast. Every meal gets processed less efficiently. Fat storage increases, specifically visceral fat, which then drives more inflammation, which further disrupts sleep the following night. It's a closed loop, a metabolic spiral. And because the symptoms, weight gain, fatigue, brain fog, mood instability, look like 100 other problems, most people never trace them back to sleep. They try another diet, they try another supplement, they try harder, and the loop just keeps spinning. Understanding this loop is step one, but you also need to know exactly how to break it. All right, here's how you actually break the cycle. Not with tips you've heard before, with a specific layered approach that targets the root causes we identified. Step 1, anchor your sleep timing. Pick a wake time, let's say 6:30 a.m., and hold it every single day, including weekends. No exceptions for at least 4 weeks. This single habit has been shown in multiple circadian biology studies to improve sleep quality faster than almost any other intervention. It resets your circadian clock from the inside out. Step 2, hard stop on screens at 9 p.m. I know you've heard this, but the research from Harvard in 2015 was specifically clear. 2 hours of blue light suppression before bed is the threshold that allows meaningful melatonin recovery. Use blue light blocking glasses if you need screens. It's not perfect, but it helps. Step 3, drop the evening alcohol. Even one drink within 3 hours of bed was shown in a 2018 study in JMIR Mental Health to reduce sleep quality by 9.3% in women and 24% in men. Not worth it. Step 4, and this is where most people skip the biology entirely. Support your body's neurochemical transition into sleep. Your body produces melatonin from serotonin, which requires magnesium as a cofactor. Most adults in the U.S. are chronically magnesium deficient, according to a 2012 analysis in Nutrition Reviews. This is where a targeted sleep stack becomes genuinely useful, not as a shortcut, but as biological support for a system that's been depleted. I personally use a combination of magnesium glycinate at around 300 to 400 milligrams taken 45 minutes before bed, paired with a low-dose melatonin blend, typically 0.5 to 1 milligram, not the 10 milligrams megadoses you see everywhere, which actually backfire by overwhelming your receptors. Magnesium glycinate specifically is the most bioavailable form for nervous system calming. It crosses the blood-brain barrier efficiently and helps shift your autonomic nervous system out of sympathetic overdrive before you ever lay down. I'll link what I use in the description. Quality matters. You want third-party tested, no fillers. Step 5. Drop your room temperature to between 65 and 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Your core body temperature needs to fall 1 to 2 degrees to initiate deep sleep. A cooler room accelerates this. This is one of the fastest environmental changes you can make with measurable results. These 5 steps work as a system. None of them alone is a magic bullet, but together they attack the root cause, not the symptoms. Here's where we close the loop. Remember how we opened? You're doing everything right, eating clean, hitting the gym, and still feel terrible. Now you know why. It's not your discipline. It's not your genetics. It's the 7 to 9 hours you wrote off as passive time. Sleep is the master lever. Pull it correctly and everything else you're already doing finally works. Leave it broken and no diet, no supplement, no workout program will ever fully compensate. You now have the full picture, the biology, the cascade, the root cause, and the 5-step system to interrupt it. The question is what you do next. If this video changed the way you think about sleep, share it with someone who's been grinding and still struggling. They probably need this more than they know. Drop a comment below telling me how many hours you've been averaging. I read every single one. And hit subscribe if you want more content that goes past the surface. We don't do basic here. Disclaimer. This video is for educational purposes only. Nothing constitutes medical advice. Always consult a qualified healthcare professional.